Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming a tag video. It's been a little while, but I've been tagged in a few things recently, so I'm catching up on those. So the tag that I'm doing for you today is called the Over 30 book tag, and this was created by the lovely Emily from Ink Not Blood. It was her birthday the other week, and for her birthday she created this original tag to celebrate all the booktubers that are at the slightly older end of the booktube age range spectrum. It can sometimes feel when you're a slightly more mature booktuber like you're really ancient, but I know there are some of us out there that are over 30, and Emily created this great tag to celebrate those people and she tagged me in it, so thank you Emily. I'm really excited to do this. These questions are really quite deep and made me think very hard. So without further ado, let's get going. So question number 1 is, name one of your favourite books that features a protagonist who is 30 years old or older. So I did actually have to rack my brains a little bit, and I was staring at bookshelves for ages, and then I remembered that the protagonist in one of my favourite books is over 30, and that's kind of the point of the story, and that is Austenland by Shannon Hale. So the main character, Jane, in this is a 30-something lady who has had a series of bad boyfriends and never quite found the one to live up to her idealised ideas of romance from Jane Austen novels, and she ends up going to a Jane Austen themed holiday where there are actors who play the sort of Jane Austen style gentlemen, and it's just really a celebration of all things Jane Austen. And this book series is really funny. There's a sequel as well, Midnight in Austenland, and both of them really make me laugh. I very much enjoy these books, and I kind of hope there'll be more someday. Also makes me feel a bit better about being a 30-something that is still single. So this fits the bill for that challenge. There's also a film as well, which is very funny. I don't know, I talk about this book quite a lot because I really do love it. There we go. That is a protagonist over 30. Question number 2. Name a book that represents who you were when you were younger. This one was actually quite easy to answer because it was a Twitter thread recently that I came across, and people were talking about the fact that the Animorphs books were a thing back in the day, and these were written by K.A. Applegate. They are a long series of sci-fi books for teenagers, essentially. I don't know whether they'd be classed as YA or middle grade by today's standards, but I started reading them when I was about 10, 11, 12. I don't know, I was definitely still in junior school, and my best friend and I loved them. So I collected quite a lot of the series. She had the whole series though, so to save me having to buy them all, she would lend them to me, and we just loved them. So the basic premise is that Earth is being secretly invaded by an alien species who are like giant slugs that crawl in through your ear and take over your brain, and only 6 teenagers know about this, and they've been given special power by the enemies of this parasitic race, which enables them to turn into animals. And so they're given this power, and they're the only ones that know about this invasion, that are fighting this invasion on Earth. So I think there are like 50 books in the main series, and then there were additional novels as well, and I read all of them and I loved them, and they were very empowering things to read as a teenager because they just really made us believe that we could change the world, and I still believe that. I still believe that young people are the key to the future, and that we should be listening more to the young people in our society. I mean, some of them are idiots. I work with young people and some of them haven't got a clue, but some of them are very sensible and know what they're talking about. So I recently, well, it was about a year ago now, had a clear out of a lot of the books that I had as a child and teenager, and I did actually pass these on to a friend who's got teenage children. While I really loved them, I just wanted them to be enjoyed again, and I don't know how long it'll be till I have my own teenage kids that would then be able to enjoy them, and maybe they'll come back around to me by that point. I don't know. Anyway, so those books are very on brand for me as a teenager who wanted to change the world. Question 3 is, name a book that represents where you are in your life now. So I've gone a little bit abstract with this one, but the book that I've chosen is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky. I've chosen this one just because the concept of it is this ship of people that have a purpose and they know where they're going and they know how to get there, but it's taking a while and they don't know what they're going to come across on the way, and they're not entirely sure what's going to happen when they get to the place they're headed. And that's kind of how I feel about a lot of situations in my life right now. I have a job that I really love, but I know that I'm not going to want to do it forever, and I kind of have ideas of what I want to do with my life when I'm ready to move on from that, but I don't know how long it's going to take me to get there. I don't entirely know what it's going to look like if and when it does happen. I mean, that's in terms of career, that's also in terms of my personal life, that I've been online dating for a while now, and it's a difficult journey to go on to try and find someone that you want to share your life with. So for a whole lot of reasons, I feel like I'm on a really long journey at the moment with a vague idea of what my destination is, just not entirely sure what's going to happen along the way and what exactly is going to happen when I get there. So that's my answer. As I said, these questions are deep and I feel like I'm bearing my soul here, so thanks, Emily. Question 4, name a book that represents something that has never changed about you. So again, this one is another insight into my soul. The book I've picked for this is called I Am Not, But I Know I Am by Louie Giglio. So this is non-fiction. Louie Giglio is an American pastor, and this book is about being small but knowing God who is big. When I read it a while ago, and I need to reread it actually, but it really spoke to me about how even when there's sort of times of confusion in my life, I have a faith that helps me through that helps me see a bigger picture, see a bigger perspective. So like I was just saying, I don't know specifically what is going to happen over the next few years of my life, but I know roughly the direction I'm going, and I have faith that I will get to where I need to be. And that's something that's very special to me, and I have been a Christian pretty much my entire life. I don't remember ever not believing in God, and I was raised that way. It's something that I've grown up with but have kept and believe for myself, and it is such an important part of my life. So this book kind of represents that for me. This next question was very easy. So question 5 is name one of your favourite classics. You probably, if you watch my channel, you probably already know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is my all-time favourite book. This is the 80th anniversary edition that I treated myself to last year. The camera doesn't really like the colour on it, but it's meant to look like a wedding dress. And this is just beautiful. I read this book first when I was a teenager. I actually need to reread it because it's been a while since I read it last. But there's just something so powerful in the story. It made me want to be a writer, and I still want to be a writer. I don't put enough time and effort into writing at the moment because I have too many other things going on, but that is still a dream of mine. And this was the book that inspired that because of the beauty and complexity of Daphne du Maurier's writing. She's one of my all-time favourite authors. Yeah, I really love this book, and I've seen a few adaptations of it which don't really do it justice, but it's just such a beautiful and powerful book, and I love it. So if you haven't read it, please go check it out. It's such a chilling story, but it's told in such a beautiful way. It's so atmospheric, and when I read it I can really picture all the stuff that's happening, and I feel like I'm there, and it's just a credit to Daphne du Maurier's writing. Anyway, that is my all-time favourite book, and it's one of my favourite classics. So that's Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And then finally, question number 6, name a book you like or would like to read that was published the year you were born. So I had to trawl through Goodreads a little bit for this, and I found that on my want to read shelf, which is books that I own, I don't think there were any, or there were a couple but they were late on in series, that sort of thing. On my books to find shelf, which is books that I want to read but I don't own, there were 2 that I don't remember adding. So I might need to check whether I still actually do want to read them. And then on my read shelf, there were 2, and one of them I gave 1 star. So that was a good start. But the other one I gave 4 stars. So I did enjoy it, and that was Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency by Douglas Adams. So Douglas Adams is best known for the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy of 5 books. This was his other series, for which I think there are 3 books, but the 3rd one might have been unfinished when he died. I can't remember. Anyway, so this is about Dirk Gently, who is a detective, but it's kind of science fiction, kind of magical realism, so I can't really remember. It's been a couple of years since I read it. I'm trying to remember. So he believes that all things are connected and there are sort of strange goings on that are sort of science fiction-y, and I don't really remember a lot about it other than that I did enjoy it. I remember there's something about a missing cat in there, I think. But it's like, it's kind of strange. He's investigating all these mysteries that turned out to all be connected in very strange ways. But as I say, it's been a while, so I don't entirely remember. I think it's been adapted a couple of times as well. I'm sure I have a DVD edition of it, which was a British adaptation, and I think there's an adaptation on Netflix, which might be an American one. I can't remember. I'm doing really well today. Right, so that's that one. So that is the book that was published the year I was born. Right. So I want to tag people. I'm going to tag people, but I don't want to accidentally call someone over 30 when they're not. So I'm not going to mention anyone here, but I will tag people in the description below, and I'll tag you on Twitter as well when I've double checked how old people are, because I had someone in mind that was going to tag and then I checked their Twitter and they were only 29. I was like, ooh, that would have been embarrassing. So I will tag people when I've worked out how old they are. But if you're over 30 and you want to do this tag, please go ahead and feel free to say I tagged you. If you're under 30 and like the questions and want to go ahead and do the tag, you can say that I tagged you and enjoy. These are some great questions, and thank you again, Emily, for creating this tag and for tagging me in it, and I hope you had a really happy birthday. And yeah, that's all for today. So if you liked this video, please like it. Please chat to me in the comments if you have read any of these books and let me know what you thought of them. Please think about subscribing if you haven't, because that's always lovely. And that's it for today, so I will talk to you again soon. Bye!